church leaders to address violence and sorcery. Eastern Highlands Governor to prioritise roads. And AROB, NCD and Central conclude boxing challenge.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Sunday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has extended a strong message calling on church leaders to take a bold stand against violence and sorcery-related killings. Speaking at the graduation of the Martin Luther Seminary today, he told the graduates that church leaders cannot stand back and allow members of the community to protect troublemakers. This latest statement comes a week after a 6-year-old girl accused of sorcery was tortured in Enga.
The Prime Minister arrived this morning at the Martin Luther Seminary in Lae. This is the most prominent Lutheran institution in Papua New Guinea. There aren't many who graduate from the Martin Luther Seminary every year, but the small number is an influential lot in this predominantly Lutheran province. With the last 6 months marred by instances of sorcery killings and abuse, the Prime Minister used the occasion to call on church leaders to take ownership of the problem.
Well, making sure some country believe me, right? Community believe me, right? Now family believe me, right?
In the last 2 weeks, the Prime Minister has released official statements condemning sorcery killings.
I don't want to see any of my children suffer, and likewise I know the parents and all the other Papua New Guineans who have got brothers and sisters are all affected by this kind of pictures that are coming up and violence that have been exerted on young kids who are very vulnerable. And that is why we are going to do everything possible, including review of some of the legislations. But as I said, legislation and laws alone cannot solve the problem. It must be our mentality, and our communities and our families need to rise up.
The instances of sorcery killings in Lae have been done in public with full knowledge of communities, and those in authority are looking to the church to provide moral guidance and leadership.
Church na community leaders, one time policy kam na some stand by taso na long presence from government or some police, and pastor can walk one time.
Scott Wide, National EMTV News, Lae.
The Office of the Registry of Political Parties has partnered with UNDP, hosting the first ever Political Parties Expo. This was a platform for political parties to showcase their policies and how they contribute to the country's democracy. The event was also held in conjunction with White Ribbon Day to advocate against ending violence against women.
A big turnout of PNG's political parties and state agencies participated in the inaugural Political Parties Expo, hosted by the Registry of Political Parties and UNDP. The aim of the expo is to strengthen the parliamentary democracy and the party system in the country.
For today's event, the first ever Political Parties Expo that we have had in this country. And UNDP is proud to be partnering with Dr. Alphonse Kelu and the Integrity Commission on this. And it's great to see so many political parties represented here. Today is really about trying to make forging a stronger partnership between political parties and the people of the countries, so that people can ensure that the political parties represent the views that they have and the issues that they want the parties to be focusing on. At the same time, the parties can be accountable to the people. And today we're having this first expo on White Ribbon Day, okay, and that is the day globally where every country in the world we are working to try and reduce the issue and eliminate violence against women and girls. And so it's great to see all the political parties also embrace the white ribbon and to say, yes, we are also going to make this a platform for our political parties to reduce and stamp out.
Political parties play a critical role in the country's democratic system. Through their parties, parliamentary leaders voted into parliament, the formation of government, and most importantly, the policies that shape the nation. Present at the expo was Bulalo MP and Pangu party leader Sam Basil, who says political parties should work their way towards becoming an institution.
So that we drive a future generation of Pangu party or any other political party and that when the current crop of leaders phase out in the political arena, we have a new crop of leaders coming in. And for me as a leader, I have to groom new and emerging leaders that will take over Pangu Party, and that's about institution. And we often see that when election comes, political party pops up like mushroom and then dies away for the next 4 years. And then towards election, we see political parties coming up. So we would like political parties to be more of a institution. So that was what I spoke about.
Sharing similar sentiments was Aitapelumi MP and National Alliance Party leader Patrick Prioritises. He also encourages of political parties to develop policies that can be implemented when the parties enter parliament.
Political parties to develop policies so that policy can be entrenched when political parties get into government. We can't be coming out of the blue, getting into government, not knowing what to do. Government policy must be stimulated by political party thinking, and in NA we've got all that ready to go.
The expo was also an opportunity for potential women candidates.
One of the events that strengthening this partnership for the Electoral Commission and the political parties to work together to address some issues that we feel that should be collaborated together, like the woman candidates. We feel and also learn from other observation report that we need to work together to encourage women's candidates to participate in any election, because the election we see that it's a man's world, but the women also have the right to stand for any election.
Through this expo, it was an opportunity for the public to understand the roles of political parties and their policies. Marilyn Diakatam, National EMTV News.
Opposition leader and former Treasurer Patrick Prioritises predicts that the 2018 national budget expenditure will be the biggest ever for the country. He told EMTV News the government needs to take leadership in budgeting and cut down on expenditure and credit. He said borrowing needs to be catered for so that the debt level of the country can be managed. There must be a concerted effort put in by the national government to bring in foreign direct investment to help resolve some of the country's foreign exchange issues.
And that government needs to take leadership in budgeting. We need to cut down our expenditure. Expenditure needs to be cut, and I believe that the expenditure for next year will be the biggest ever, which is 14.7 billion kina. That is not helping the country at all. We should also take leadership in terms of borrowing. Borrowing needs to be curtailed so that we can manage our debt level. And there must be concerted effort put in by government to bring in foreign direct investment, and because that will help resolve some of our foreign exchange issues that we have currently. Once the foreign currency issue is addressed and restored, you will have business community, the small to middle-sized businesses coming on into operation again. Right now, they've been scaling down, they've been putting off jobs, they've been closing down. So we need to stimulate the small to medium-sized businesses, because the more we have, the more tax base we will create, and the taxes will be collected to fund the budget for a country in years to come.
Close to 300 refugees who were living at the Manus Regional Processing Centre were transferred out to the relocated centres of East and West Lorengau since last Thursday. Manus Police Commander Senior Inspector David Yapu headed the transfer exercise called the Cleaning Base Operation with assistance from the Immigration and Citizenship Services Authority and the Defence Force. The operation was executed under 4 government objectives, including the Supreme Court's decision and the condemning of the centre by health authorities. You're watching National EMTV News. MPs pledge to prioritise road infrastructure. That story and more after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to National MTV News. Kairukuhiri MP Peter Isoaimo says the manner in which the Lands Department is behaving in secretly acquiring land to individuals is unacceptable. He says there must be some decency and at least some common courtesy and dialogue. A good lesson to learn from is from the Panguna mine negotiation.
The question was directed to the Lands Minister on the Papa Lele land outside of Port Moresby.
Is the Minister aware that there was a compulsory acquisition of land in Papa Lele? Portion number 281C, 14C, millions of Granville and 4 mil Port Moresby, which was taken up away from local landowners, whom have registered their complaints to my office also, that they have pending legal matters over the land ownership issue of that very portion.
While welcoming development in Kairukuhiri, the local MP believes proper processes should be followed.
I understand government has powers to acquire land where it's necessary for development purposes. As a member representing my people, I also welcome development in my electorate. But the manner in which the department behaves secretly, acquiring land with certain leaders of the community, is unacceptable.
There's lack of proper consultation with many land deals in the country. Isoaimo says the Kairukuhiri District Development Authority should be consulted.
All the government, the district government I had as Kairukuhiri District Development Authority, and the province need is some decency of at least common courtesy, consultation and dialogue. So when people affected turn up to ask for some explanation, at least we are aware.
The Lands Minister Justin Tichenko has requested documents to be forwarded to his office.
On the issue of Papa Lele and the land grabbing there, please provide me all documentation of section, lot numbers, details, everything that you've got there. I believe this was done before my time as Minister, and I'm more than happy to have a look at that documentation and talk to those traditional landowners that have legal matters still over that particular piece of land to ensure that it is done correctly and properly by the laws of the Lands Department.
Meanwhile, questions were also raised on the Central Provincial Government Land Board.
Is Central Provincial Government Land Board, when is the Minister going to delegate our powers so our provincial government can exercise that right to deliberate and allocate our own land to our people instead of others keep grabbing our land? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
For the Central Government Lands Board, I'm more than happy to work with your Governor and the members of the Central Provincial Government to set up a proper lands board. It's for your provincial government to provide the necessary funding and space and staff to ensure that that is done.
Fabian Hakelitz, National MTV News.
Madang Governor Peter Yama has raised concerns on a 10 million Kina road contract in Madang. Yama says construction has not begun on the road network of Madang since the contract was awarded. And Works Minister Michael Nally says to put the contract on hold for all tender and bidding processes to be followed.
About Long Airport,
the Madang governor raised his concerns, saying 7 contracts were awarded to only one contractor for major roadworks in Madang town.
Me ask Minister, please, enough long talk out 10 million because potholes lo Madang long last first Parliament sitting me been talk clear penis. Beautiful lo Madang no stop again.
He also says the same contractor had contracts in maintenance work of feeder and street roads.
The interior roads inside lo Madang, me kamanid lo government lo me na member lo Madang na, but this like contractor now am continue lo walking road lo the lily road inside lo Madang.
In response, Works Minister Michael Nally was aware of the 10 million Kina contract.
Contract can be awarded, but me give him tokorait lo contractor lo kisim possession lo site.
Yama's concern on road maintenance comes after the Works Department launched for the first time a road maintenance policy called the Performance-Based Contract, or PBC, to be piloted on the Hiwitano Highway. This policy will target road contractors to be paid according to their work over a period of time. It also aims at reducing problems with road maintenance, which is a prolonged issue in Madang Town.
So Department of Works, there's a policy shift in the Department of Works. We need to look at roads in a more business approach. We need to look at roads in a network approach. When we're putting funds for road maintenance, we must look at fixing the entire section.
Kind road also money also can walk him 2 lane or 4 lane, also you walk him the lay. You can walk him through Kamlong Airport, na come through Divine Wood, na making Madang must look beautiful.
In the meantime, the Works Minister says the contract will be put on hold while the verification process begins.
Honorable Governor, by me kisim kisim clarification long secretary, na by investigating na was true and one company me kissing one payment without doing any job, then we will address that through the normal process, but insofar as I am concerned, I do not think a particular company has been paid 10 million kina during my time. Thank you.
Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
Within the past week, the agriculture sector has taken center stage with the inaugural National Agriculture Summit, highlighting what needs to be done to revive this crucial economic sector. The national government, through the Second Alotau Accord, had identified the diversification of the economy as a priority in this term of parliament, and among its priorities, the rehabilitation of agriculture. Traditionally, Papua New Guinea had been known as an agricultural state, but in recent years, the extractive industry had taken up much of the priority of government, with a dangerous reduction in emphasis on agriculture. This in turn led to a decline in production in agriculture, especially for smallholder operations in the main agriculture commodities. However, following the national general elections this year, the government has now placed agriculture as a priority within the economic sector, in a move to diversify the economy of the country away from the heavy dependence on the non-mineral industries.
We have to learn from the mistakes that we have made. Some silly programs that we have wasted so much money that we don't have and we cannot afford. You know, you would hear the horror stories of paper farmers lining up at Kulupindi House to get millions and millions of checks. What are they done with those money? No farmers, just wasted.
Speaking at the inaugural National Agriculture Summit, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill was quick to reassure the agriculture industry that despite past mistakes, the government was now looking to collaborate with the private sector to improve the environment for agriculture projects, both on the small scale as well as that of commercial scale.
That is why we have come to a point where we need to think a bit smarter on how we invest limited resource governments. Unfortunately, this summit has happened when we have Cabinet has already approved budget and we are going into printing as we speak.
According to Agriculture and Livestock Minister Benny Allen, with the high priority now placed on agriculture, the time is right to engage more with the private sector as they are the driving force behind this key industry.
The government and the private sector should work in collaborative partnership to build this sector, which caters for bulk of the country's population, who own and occupy vast tracts of land in the country.
In terms of practical government support, the summit was told that the pillars of development would still be infrastructure, access to funding, as well as extension services. All these elements crucial to the survival of agriculture in Papua New Guinea. However, the industry, especially participants in the public sector, have been told to be more responsible in how funds are utilized and acquitted. This based on previous instances of mismanagement of funds through past government agriculture programs.
We've used the boards and what happened? Some boards don't even function, no audits are done. Mixed results. Some blow some don't know what. So I can assure you, in the 2018 budget, which will be handed out next week, you will see a massive shift in priority of government. Economic growth is the #1 priority of our government. Yes, we'll still do the hospitals, we'll still do the roads, but the focus will be on economic growth. And the funding to the sector is doubling. Plus,
the conclusion of the summit has signaled a new era for agriculture in Papua New Guinea. And by all accounts, participants within the industry are hopeful that the issues that require attention from government can be addressed immediately to ensure that agriculture gets back on track.
We are in very, very good cup. We have a very solid foundation. We have hard-working coconut farmers, hard-working cocoa farmers, hard-working coffee farmers, hard-working rubber farmers, hard-working livestock farmers, and even hard-working fresh produce.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Road infrastructure is one of the top priorities for Eastern Highlands Province. Governor Peter Numu says road projects will be developed for accessibility to economic development.
Governor Numu has marked road infrastructure, agriculture and trade and investment as top priorities during his term in office. Road infrastructure is a priority to bring economic benefits. Part of this also involves empowering provincial works, as procuring equipment is a challenge.
Waiting for the money from the national government, I see that it's a waste of time, energy. So we're just looking at empowering our provincial works office with. We have the people there on the ground to do the work, but it's just that we don't have the capacity of plants and equipment. So I am now currently building my provincial works now unit, and then we'll use that to take all the mountains down, connecting villages where the populations. So they've been suffering from road network.
Another aim of improving road infrastructure is to create a conducive environment for business investment, identify state land, and attract investor confidence. Numu added certain measures are in place to support SMEs through public-private partnership to protect the local economy.
Those foreigners coming into our province, they'll be looking at investing in big projects or big businesses, not to run those Taga shops or Kaibas. All this will be put to SMEs, and we'll localize this. And we're not there to stop the foreigners coming to our area to do business, but we must reserve our business, equal opportunity to our people to participate in business and economic development. To do that, it's the responsibility of the government to balance things.
Meanwhile, the provincial government has set up a monitoring and evaluation team to review all projects.
So we'll institute legal proceedings against those developers or companies, and then we'll recoup those money back. And we look at other possible means to, re-tender those projects. So it's now we are also recouping all it's a big challenges ahead of us, and we are also looking at recouping those projects. And
Merlin Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas now, Egyptians are observing 3 days of national mourning after the deadliest terror attack the country has ever known. Over 300 people were killed when militants set off bombs at a mosque during Friday prayers and then opened firing on worshippers. More than 24 children were also killed.
The funerals are already underway for that attack on the Rauda Mosque in northern Sinai Friday afternoon, and Egypt is already responding with airstrikes, claiming that they have hit some of the vehicles that were used in the attack. Now, the Egyptian public prosecutor put out a statement today that was read on TV, providing a few more details about this attack. According to the statement, 5 SUVs drove up outside this mosque, and out of them got 25 to 30 armed men, some of them wearing combat fatigues. They deployed around the mosque, including at the entrance and at each of the 12 windows of the mosque. They set off an explosive, then opened fire. Now, the Middle East News Agency, the official news agency of Egypt, puts the death toll at this point at least 305, including 27 children, in addition to 128 people wounded. Now, this is just the latest in a series of attacks in Egypt that are connected, it's believed, to this militant group affiliated with ISIS. Last December, they attacked a church in Cairo. On Palm Sunday, there were twin attacks, one on a church in the Delta city of Tanta, another in Alexandria. And of course, it was also this group, the Wilayat Sinai, that claimed responsibility for the October 2015 downing of that Russian Metrojet liner as well. Now, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the Egyptian president, said on Friday evening, just hours after the attack, that Egypt would respond with brute force, and it appears these airstrikes I mentioned earlier.
More global outcries after an exclusive CNN report revealed African migrants are being sold as slaves in Libya.
700. 700. 800. The numbers roll in. These men are sold for 1,200 Libyan pounds, $400 apiece.
And critics say that European countries share some of the blame for this situation, since they rely on Libya to prevent migrants from crossing the Mediterranean Sea into the European Union. The Libyan government, for its part, which is backed by the UN, says it is investigating these slave auctions. Meanwhile, protests across Europe have continued. Melissa Bell is following the outrage in Paris.
This was the third protest in Paris in a week. Protests against the slavery that is currently taking place in Libya. Protests provoked by the airing of those images on CNN. The first protest that took place here a week ago on Saturday had not even planned, but the anger of those who came out was such that the police really had trouble containing the protest. There was another protest yesterday and a further one today. The number is down a bit, but the sense of determination of those who were there still very strong. They believe that they need to keep coming out onto the street until action is taken. And it isn't just from the streets that the pressure for action is coming here in France. The French President Emmanuel Macron is very much leading the call for action from the United Nations. For now, though, of course, all eyes very much on that Libyan inquiry to see what will come out of that, about the extent of what happened and what reprisals have been taken as a result. But clearly there is a great deal of anger, and I think in Europe a great deal of outrage that the responsibility is at least partly shared by the European Union, because you'll remember that the reason that Europe has managed to bring the number of those making it to their shores down is this deal that it's had with Libyan authorities. So what happens now is that the migrants who find themselves in the Mediterranean get taken back to Libya. The European Union has, over the course of the last few months, been working with Libya to send as many migrants as possible back to a country where we now know that those sorts of appalling human rights abuses exist. And again, it was CNN's images, it was the fact of those pictures, I think, that has provoked that call for action from authorities here in France, but also the anger on the streets that we've been seeing.
Yeah, with National MTV News, Trukai Sports is next. We'll have some updates from the 7th PNG Games in Kimbe. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with some updates from the BSP Games in Kimbe. And in boxing, the finals ended yesterday with the autonomous region of Bougainville, NCD and Central collecting more gold and silver medals. The three provinces have constantly maintained their positions in the top three since competition began.
It was all entertaining combat in the past 6 days at the Kimbe Secondary School, as more than 10 provinces sent in a fighter for each weight category. Each fighter endured a daily challenge to make it through the rounds and into the finals. But yesterday, only the top 3 was selected for the medal playoffs in their respective divisions. AROB and Central began the female 46 kg division for the gold medal playoff. Petronila Noke from the autonomous region of Bougainville was a crowd pleaser, delivering more punches in the second, third and fourth bouts, leaving a Central opponent Elizabeth Oaike with little room to gain points. In the female 69 kg gold playoff, AROB yet again dominated the entire round against a Sundowns opponent. Sundowns' Sharon Essie finished second to claim silver, while AROB's Irene Globun finished on top to win one more gold for the AROB boxing team. AROB won 4 gold and 4 silvers, NCD won 4 gold, 3 silver and 2 bronze, while Central managed to secure 4 gold, 1 silver and 4 bronze. Following the top 3 teams was East New Britain with 3 gold, 3 silver and 6 bronze. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV Sports, Kimbe.
Two Aussie rules and hosts West New Britain and neighbours East New Britain were the only 2 provinces competing in the AFL competition at the 7th PNG Games. The home side proved to be better, defeating their opponent in all 3 matches with a gold medal finish yesterday.
Consisting of only 2 teams, the competition was set in a 3-phase format similar to the State of Origin test in Rugby League, where the team with the most wins gets the gold. Matches were spread out in 3 days, with the first hit out on Wednesday. West New Britain in blue won the first series and followed through in the second test to topple the East New Britain lads, who put up a tough challenge for the locals. Having won 2 out of 3, the third and final game wasn't going to be a decider, as most of the visiting supporters would have hoped for, but rather a show of athleticism and sportsmanship for both teams. Determined to send a message to the other AFL contesting provinces who couldn't make the 7 PNG Games, West New Britain stamped their authority in the final encounter with a big win over fellow rivals from the eastern part of the island. Winning 3 from 3 and claiming gold, West New Britain team captain Alan Kaumu said it would have been enthralling to have other provinces taking part as well.
Niblol members come set, Namda look for the next PNG Games. We challenge him on Nablol to big center. On now will make him here, so we will meet him all on Highlands the next games.
However, with commitment and dedication in training, it has paid off for the local side, and they are certain to defend their title come the next PNG Games.
La team bam dana buru game sta bosem da just trimim ligli call era tasol tausim sini blol team ka ni blol members kam set nam da look for the next PNG Games. We will challenge him on Nablol to big center. On now will make him here, so we will meet him all on Highlands the next games.
Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports, Kimbe.
Don't go away, Trukai Sports continues after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Still on the PNG Games, and in softball, Team Madang have hit back, registering wins in both the men's and women's division at the San Remo Diamonds. They played against hosts West New Britain, beating them 10-6 in a nail-biting encounter. Coach David Gallaudet says although they won, there is still room for improvement before the finals.
With only 3 provinces participating in the code of softball, all 3 have played against each other in both men and women divisions. In the second inning, Team Madang took no chances with good batting despite fast pitches from the host province. With runners already at second and third base, Madang began hitting the ball to add points on the scoreboard. The host threw everything to house the visitors. However, Madang walked away easily with better batting. But it was not easy for the visitors as Team West New Britain stepped up with fast pitching and better fielding. The local boys struck back with 2 consecutive outs in the first base. Madang took the field with the aim of ousting the local boys. Fast pitches from Madang did count despite a good batting from Team West New Britain. The local boys struggled to put points on the board, but things did not work out for them as Medang proved their dominance in fast pitches. Medang began batting again in the second quarter of the last inning. The visitors left their batting, scoring points to extend the lead. It was not easy for the host as Medang placed perfect balls out in the field to score points. Despite Medang gaining dominance, the local boys did make efforts to stop Medang scoring points. But with runners set in all base, Medang continued extending the lead. The game ended with Medang coming home with 10 runs to West New Britain 6. Medang coach David Galadia says the win will see them play goal defenders Team East Britain.
Now all boys win. Lucas on the step second East Britain. Now when we play East Britain Tuesday. So Saturday win now and second in first place now.
And now a win against the host has placed them in the second placing. However, yesterday's match was not easy for the boys from Medang. Coach Galadia says the Medang boys need to tighten few errors before next week's final encounters.
Betting plenty of money or dropping betting blow. I think I'm work Sunday, Monday, I'm work betting. Now look forward game.
Medang women also beat West New Britain yesterday. Jack Lapava Jr. National MTV Sports, Kimbe.
Away from the PNG Games, and 36 professionals from various fields of employment recently took part in a boxing showcase event. White Collar Boxing, a concept put forward by True Warrior, saw the professionals take part in 18 bouts, 2 of these featuring females. The main event in the women's 60 kg category was between model Sheila Yama and MTV's Isabel Druma.
With 1 minute rest intervals.
The True Warrior White Collar Showcase started with the men's 56 kilograms division, featuring Leslie Gaffer in the red corner taking on Apox Allen in the blue corner in a contest that drew the attention of the crowd. Gaffer held on strong with his position and precise punches, punching Apox into the corner for the majority of the fight. It was an anonymous decision for the judges, awarding the fight in favor of Gaffer. The second bout was in the 69 kilograms division, Wax Essie taking on Yaya Jen. It was an easy win for Essie with his precision punches and slick footwork proving too good for his opponent.
Of unanimous decision, the winner from the red corner,
Also in the 69 kilograms division, the next bout saw Freddie Redbone take on Ali Zama and then Ellison Darby and Easy Ali. The main event featured the much-anticipated matchup in the women's 60 kilograms division, with Sheila Yama taking on Isabel Druma. The first round was fairly even, but Yama, with support from the crowd, edged ahead, took control in the ring. Despite her best efforts, Druma could not match it with Yama, with several instances of ill discipline costing her much-needed points. The judges awarding the fight to Yama in a split decision.
by way of split decision, the winner out of the red corner.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
And that's a wrap for Trukai Sports. We'll be back with the weather details for Monday after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. We begin in the southern region, mostly fine in Port Moresby and Daru, as well as in Alatau. Brief showers expected in Kerma, cloudy periods for Popondetta. To the Momasi region, rain expected in Ley and Wau, some showers in Wewak and Madang, showers and thunderstorms for Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, brief showers expected in Lorengau, Kimbe and Buka, showers and thunderstorms for Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect showers over the next 24 hours with morning fog.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And before we go, a quick look at the stories making headlines this Sunday. Church leaders urged to address violence and sorcery. Eastern Highlands Governor prioritizes roads, and the Autonomous Region of Bougainville, NCD and Central conclude boxing at the PNG Games in Kimbe, West New Britain Province. And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Sunday, the 26th of November, 2017. On behalf of the EMTV News team, you have a pleasant working week. Good night.